Hello and welcome back to the video. Anime Dion here, and we are starting my new what if, and it's what if Izuku Midorya was abandoned, part 1. Okay, so this is my first part of the video. This video is not gonna be really different. I'm not gonna be really talking like sidelined. I'm just gonna get into the story. So yeah, I just want to tell y'all, leaving the suggestions down below because I would really appreciate that. And to like button, to subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And yeah, a link in the description for my friend who made my intro and outro. And yeah, play my intro. Izuku growing up, about 4 years old. He had a little sister named Izuma. His stepfather, his real father, he didn't even know. His stepfather would beat Izuku because he was a quirkless young boy. And by the time Izuma was 3 years old, she had already gotten her quirk. She had a very strong telekinesis quirk, which caused Izuku to be jealous, but not very angry. He was also sad because his little sister would bully him and throw him around the room. His little sister. His mom would then get tired of him and annoyed at this. By the age he was 6 years old, she takes him in the car with Izuma and the stepfather, and they are all laughing. And by the time they stop, right about 4 miles from home, Izuku doesn't know where because he's only 6. They drop him off right in the middle of the city. Fast forward about 2 weeks. Izuku had been stranded in the city, asking for help, and nobody would help this strange little boy. His clothes are all scratched up. He got blood all over him from the beating his parents and his sister left him right before they left. So everybody was really strange and pretty fearful of this boy, this young 6-year-old. So nobody would really help. This causes Izuku to run into the forest. He just runs and runs and runs to get away from the people. And boom, he's caught by the police. The police take him, clean him up, and put him in an orphanage. And this orphanage full of kids with quirks, they're all getting adopted except for Izuku because he's a quirkless little boy. And he would be bullied by the kids also. This caused Izuku to go mad. One day he would run away and he'd meet this man. This man was he looked about in his 50s. It's very nice. And he would ask Izuku if he needed any help. Izuku then says, well, I ran away from the orphanage I used to live in, as he had like bruises on his arms and face. He says, they used to bully me because I'm quirkless. Then the man laughs. He says, you shouldn't run. This makes it worse. With a weird grin on his face. He then grabs Izuku on his head, and he says, he rubs his hand through his hair. He says, you're okay, shakes his hair a little bit like that. He says, it's okay, child, let me take you back. Izuku then says yes, as he felt a little weird at that moment. He's back at the orphanage, and the adults kick him back to his room. Right as All For One had barely saw that with the back of his eye. He kind of rolls his eyes. He turned around. He says, I brought him back for you. He said, oh, thank you very much. We are very worried. Not really, but they were not worried at all. Izuku then is right away getting bullied and beat by the people that work there, and bullied by the kids there already. Then out of nowhere, his eyes just, they hurt and they burn. They burn. He closes his eyes and he rubs them. And the kids are just still punching at him and punching at him and punching at him and kicking and punching and punching. And then this one kid with a strength enhancement quirk punches him in the stomach. Izuku's eyes open and lasers come straight out of his eye, heat waves. And he burns everybody in the orphanage. Everybody, and kills them all. He can't control it. as it just goes rogue. Waves, heat waves and rays as big as the whole house. The house just is obliterated. Then the man that had met him came to pick him up. He says, well, as Izuku, it's been a week, and Izuku has been in the streets. He kept his eyes closed, will shrink. Whenever he opens them, they don't shoot out. It's just, he just wants to be careful. But at the same time, Izuku is kind of relieved that he gets to be away from everybody and that they're all done. Then he meets with the same man again. He said, are you okay, kid? Did you run away again? He then says, there's nowhere to run away from. Then Izuku tells the man what had happened, and the man just laughs. He laughs a little bit. Izuku's kind of concerned. He says, what's up? Izuku then, the man just says to a 7-year-old Izuku Midorya, you could come live with me. He says, well, will you beat me? He says, no, I will help you. Then Izuku asks, well, what's your name? He said, just call me All for One. Or just call me Dad. He says, okay, Dad. No, he says, okay, All for One, as it takes Izuku a little while to get warmed up to him. But Izuku, ever since he's went to go live with All for One, or his new guardian, he's been pretty happy ever since he's not beat, and he has a big brother about 5 years older than him named Tomura Shigaraki. And I forgot to say, Izuku and Izuma are actually twins. They're not that far apart. They're actually twins. Never mind that. Well, they're not. She's like, yeah, they're twins pretty much. She's a girl. He's a boy though. My bad. So yeah. All for One then says, Izuku, Shigi, that's what he calls Tomura Shigaraki, a young boy that he had retrieved about about a year or two before he had retrieved Izuku. Shigi is about 12 years old as Izuku's 7. Shigi is 5 years older than Izuku. Izuku loves to play around with Shigi, and Izuku has a pretty good control over his quirk, even though he's only been training with it for 2 months. That's a training his dad had gave to him. Now Izuku has warmed up to it. So we fast forward about a year, and Izuku's 8, and Shigaraki is 13, and Izuku has warmed up to All for One and now calls him Dad. And he asks his dad, Dad, how did I end up getting this quirk? Ever since I met you, just the next day, or no, right when I got back, that's when it all happened. He says, kid, you ask too much questions. You're too young to know this stuff. Besides, what do you think? Of course, it was a quirk awakening, kid. So, Izuku kind of suspicious. He goes out to go check on his dad's work, or All for One's work, and he sees All for One with his dude, and he gives this dude a quirk and takes away his quirk for somebody else. He says, whoa, did he give me this quirk? Is he a villain? Then he asks his dad whether or not he's a villain or not. And then All for One says, kid, some people may call me a villain, but I do good stuff for people. Some people don't want their quirks. Some people do. For those who don't, I help them out, and I take it. And those who do, I give them one. Listen here. If they don't repay me back when I need help, I kill them. Is that something bad? Izuku then brushes off and shoots a little tiny laser at All for One that All for One just blocks. He said, whoa, kid, stop. Go to your room. All for One yells. He says, no, you're a villain. I hate villains. I thought you were good. You helped me ever since I was a child. Izuku then runs away from home, as often, and Shiggy runs after him. He says, Izuku! Izuku runs away far, and as he runs all the way to this forest. He's in this forest, all alone, stranded. Now we fast forward about a year to where Izuku is 9 years old. He's been living in the same forest all for 1 year straight. He isn't happy. He's actually depressed. He figured out the person that gave him a quirk, that he didn't know he gave him a quirk, and killed his whole orphanage. Who made him kill his own orphanage? Took him in, was a villain, and was probably planning to do stuff with to use him in the future. This causes Izuku, and then we head back to Izuku, and Izuku is in this little hut he built, pretty good sized. He's pretty good at making meals, as he uses laser eyes to make food, to heat up stuff and food and stuff, or make fires. But every time he travels through this forest, he hears a voice. When he's traveling along to get some wood, he hears this voice. By this time, he's been ignoring it. No bother. It's not been bothering. But one day, about 2 weeks after a year of being in the forest, it's a spirit. It's an earth spirit. The spirit then says, "You're chosen. You're the chosen one, Izuku," and grabs him and makes this and drops him, throws him down this hole. Izuku is then down and then just lands in this mud. And it seems like different. The skies are not blue, but orange. The whole sky is orange. There's trees everywhere, and trees that look nothing like the trees in the forest he lived in. He wondered. Then he remembers the spirit grabbing him. Izuku wanders around, and he's stopped by these guards. They're not humans, but they're a mixture. It's weird, he says. Then automatically he's teleported right in front of this king. And the king of the earth spirits then says, "What is your name?" Izuku says, he shoots out a laser eyes trying to get away. This causes the earth spirit to react, and he throws up a rock to block off the ray. He says, "That won't work, child. You need to understand. You need to understand what you're capable of. You'll never defeat someone like me. You've been chosen. You're gaining up my powers. But you're not gonna act like a brat while you're at it." So Izuku is there for a year, and he's giving these special powers. When he just got gone there, he's kind of confused, but he knows these people aren't villains really, because they don't seem bad. He didn't see them giving abilities to randos besides himself, and killing people who don't repay them back. The only people they kill is probably criminals. Izuku's happy again. He's praised by many people. He's praised by most people in the world. He's praised everywhere in that world he is in. He calls it a different world, but really it's just a location on Earth. Then Izuku, one day, after about 3 years have passed, Izuku is the age of 12. He's sent right back to the normal world, as the Earth Spirit then tells him, "Your training is over with. Your training is over with, Naruto." Oh, I said Naruto. Oh my god. Your training is over with, Izuku. Go back to your life. Do better. Izuku is now known as the God of Earth from the people of that world, as Izuku says, when it's really a location on Earth. And, yeah. As Izuku's 12 years old, he's already living in the forest. Perfect. He can control the trees, the plants, and the mud, anything. The rocks, the floor, as long as it has anything to do with nature, he can control it. And any living thing besides humans, he can control, like animals, bears, anything that's on any land animal, Izuku can control and use the properties of that land animal. Like such as if Izuku wanted to become a panther, he can turn into a panther, or make claws of a panther, or teeth. Izuku thinks about the world, what's out there. And he says, I can't go up there. I can't go out there again. It's been horrible 3 times, he thinks to himself. My original family being quirkless, beat, abandoned in the city by the age of 6, Izuku thinks to himself. The orphanage who used to beat me. Then that man, all for one. The person I cared about, the person that I thought cared for me, probably only wanted to use me. Izuku then starts to cry a bit, and he gets up. He says, well, I have to head into the city anyway. There's no way I can stay in here for the rest of my life. So Izuku heads into the city right away. He has clothes on, but not regular clothes. It's really just leaves over his body and stuff. As people see this, they think it's a little bit weird. Izuku hasn't been in the city for it's been about 5 years since Izuku's been in the city. In the city. No, 4 years. It's been about 4 years since Izuku's been in the city. He understands stuff, but there's a big difference in things around there. Izuku is astonished, though, as there are many more buildings than there was before. He walks into the shop, and they say, you got any money, kid? He says, well, what's money? Well, he knows what money is. Right away, he just makes, like, these bills, because, money is made of, like, a special kind of paper, and paper's from wood and trees and stuff, so yeah. He makes that wood out of his hand, which he can do. And yeah, he says, yeah, I have money. I just need clothes. Izuku says with a pretty mid, like, puberty voice, like start of puberty voice. He says, yeah, I got money. Any clothes, for, like, these new days for about, like, some 12-year-olds. He says, well, you don't look very like a 12-year-old. You look 14. Oh, Izuku says, yeah, I'm a tall dude. Yes, Izuku is much taller than he is in the original. A little bit taller. He's about a little taller than Shoto Todoroki. Izuku then buys some clothes, looking pretty cool. And he makes more money and buys an apartment, all alone. It's not really legal that he bought it. It's really he's just buying to move in with somebody. The person he moves in was a nice, about 80-year-old woman that he cares for. He makes her coffee. Not coffee. He makes her tea. He takes care of her. Yeah. Izuku doesn't really have hard feelings for this woman, as the woman is blind and old. He just takes care of her. And if anything happens, he will help her, no matter what. He will try to help her, no matter what. So we fast forward about 3 more years. Izuku's about 5 years old. No, did I say 5? I mean 15 years old. He's been going to school, but not the same school as usual. Just a school about right by the forest that nobody really goes to. Only a few kids go there. About one class. Izuku's class. He then says, well, I'm thinking of heading to UA, to becoming a hero. As he says to the few other students in his classroom. They just laugh. He says, A UA from this school? There's no way, Izuku. Even with your quirk, there's no way. Izuku says, don't doubt me. As for that school year, in that summer, he trains and trains and trains and trains, Izuku does. And by the end of that summer, he's pretty strong. Nothing really special. And no, he did not beat All Might. It's about time for the UA entrance exam. Izuku looks a little bit different. His hair has become a much lighter green, about grass colored. Not this color, but grass colored. And then pretty much he sees his sister, Izuma. He kind of just closes his eye to calm down. Izuku still has his laser eyes quirk and the earth quirk, where he can do pretty much anything the earth can. And he can control animals and talk to them. He is the god of the earth, as the earth people say. He sees Izuma. Izuma sees him. He says, looks familiar. Don't know when though. Whatever. The 15-year-old girl says. Then Izuku also sees Katsuki Bakugo, a childhood friend who also bullied him, including his family. Who also bullied him that wasn't his family. My bad. He then just walks straight into the auditorium. Very quiet Izuku is. He sits down, he listens to instruction, and it's time to get out, to get into the gate. Professor Mike says, start! Izuku runs in and he's using his laser eyes to destroy as many robots as possible. The laser eyes are really just going through them and blowing some up, but he can also make heat waves through his eyes. Then he brings out rocks from the ground, the concrete, and throws them straight at the robots at high speeds that, nothing can. He's also had the ability of controlling steel, since steel is from the earth. He rips the steel apart with his bare hands. He can do that. He has super strength and many regenerative abilities. He's running through these robots like crazy. Nobody has seen something like this since All Might. Everybody is like just going through, and then the 0-pointer finally comes out. This causes Izuku to kind of be shocked, but nothing special. He runs, he jumps, he kicks right through the stomach of the robot. This doesn't break the robot, but then Izuku grabs the robot by his feet and swings it and throws it on the other side of the the place. This destroys the robot, but Izuku goes in and destroys it and punches it right in the face, blowing it up. Just in case, Izuku says. The teachers all watching, observing, eyes just open wide as they see this prodigy of a child. Everybody's just surprised to see there. On their way out, Izuma, this girl says, Izuma says, hey, I've seen you. You seem pretty strong. Izuku then says, I'm gonna walk away now. She kind of blushed at him, and Izuku thinks to himself, he's like, that's my sister. Oh no, never. I really hope she didn't get in. And this is where I'm going to end the video. And I know this video is pretty long. I just want to make a long video. I felt like it. Leaving suggestions down below. And peace out.